Address be agreed to. I give the call to the member for Riverina.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. In 1899, the famous poet and literary figure Henry Lawson, in his poem "'Twas a Land Set Apart," wrote, "'Tis a land where national honour might rise with a stainless name, and the people be wise and prosper, and freedom forget her shame, and the wealth of the people only be told by the wealth of the state," and so on. I've quoted a verse in my two previous addresses in reply, and felt, given the new extent of my electorate boundaries, it was appropriate to use some lines from Lawson, born on the Grenfell goldfields in 1867. It's now part of the Riverina. "Australia and the land it has become is a place we call home and are proud. It is a land set apart, and the greatest assets, the richest attributes of this great southern land are its people. We live in a time of great prosperity, with much to be thankful for, and it is with the grateful thanks that I stand here today. Politics is about power. It is not about power, I should say. It is about people. Politics is about people." Those were amongst my concluding words in my first address in reply to this Parliament on 21 October 2010. And as I stand here now in the 45th Parliament of Australia, the representative of a Riverina electorate quite different to the one which elected me almost 6.5 years ago, that statement is truer than ever. No matter where you go or what you do, no matter the time or the place, politics is always about people, people ahead of power. It is the conversations and interactions I have with people around the Riverina and Central West and across Australia's small businesses which inspire me each and every day, Madam Deputy Speaker, and people have inspired me my whole life. As a newspaper editor, the purpose of print was the people, the readers, meeting people and sharing their stories, going into bat for my community and its people. Every person has a story. Every individual has a unique tale to tell. To use the community's newspaper to be our champion and to see Wagga Wagga and the Riverina and its people prosper, that was my aim. And so it was, as a small business owner, building from my home's garage in Wagga Wagga, to grow and create a multiplier effect across the Riverina region. A small business, too, it's about people. As our small business grew, so did the local printer, moving premises, buying bigger equipment and, perhaps most importantly, hiring more staff, proving again that regional people can mix it with the best. To represent people in this Parliament is a great privilege. It's a great honour. And as I stand here today, the representative of 8 shires, which were not previously in the Riverina electorate, the greatest part of the challenge of our new geography was meeting its people. From Tootle to Tullamore, from Huron Creek to Peak Hill, the people of my electorate are resilient, they are hard-working, they are fantastic, wonderful people. The number of shires and communities we welcomed to the Riverina electorate at the last election is high, and its geography is very different. The shires and communities around Cootamundra, Cowra, Forbes, Grenfell, Harden, Murrumburra, Lockhart, Parkes and Young are each country towns with a vibrant community and a very, very bright future. While the map has changed, the character of our electorate remains the same. We are, in the Riverina and Central West, all proudly country. We all want more jobs. We all need better mobile telephone coverage. We all want to see good local roads and booming local businesses. Today, as every day, ours is a story of regional Australia, a story of great hope for our nation's future, of our desire to see our communities grow, services grow, small businesses grow, and more than anything, the hope of our towns will be stronger and more resilient for the next generation. When thinking about the issues which were clear in the Riverina at the last election and the priorities which will drive me in this term of Parliament, I want to talk about 3 main points: supporting small business, building inland rail and connecting country communities. If we are to build buoyant country towns, these 3 are the character of my Riverina and Central West electorate, and these are ambitions the Nationals share. The roads, the bridges and rail lines which are the arteries of our region will entwine our enterprise, our farmers, our primary producers with the markets and ports which will buy them. It will see small business succeed. It will create the jobs and opportunities country people want with the future on which they know they can rely. And the Nationals' plan will see that destiny manifest. Country communities are naturally communities of small business. In cities such as Wagga Wagga or Parkes, or in remote places such as Tullamore or Warroo, the local economy is only there because of small business. Small business is our country's job creator. Australia's 2.1 million small businesses employ almost 5 million Australians, more than any other sector in our economy. And in the Riverina and Central West, the more than 15,000 small businesses I proudly represent keep jobs available locally. They do a grand job. They create opportunities for locals to invest, and they sell the goods and services our nation needs, and people worldwide indeed. Small business is naturally at home with the Nationals. Of the 15,000 small businesses in my electorate, around a third are farmers. And as this government moves to expand the definition of small business to a turnover of $10 million from its current threshold of $2 million, many of its beneficiaries will indeed be farmers. Ask any country person and they will tell you when the season is good, so is the town. If farmers do well, so do local farm machinery small businesses and car dealers, as well as people who run shops in a country's town main street. In fact, everybody prospers. And if farmers do well, then our cities are fed, they are clothed. Our economy grows, and just as recent data on export shows, Australia's economy becomes the envy of the world. And that proud story starts with small businesses in rural and regional Australia. It's someone who takes a risk to pursue their dream, whether that's starting a small business from home, or whether that's diversifying the farm into different commodities, or whether that's trying to grow and give another local person a job. Country small business and their people is what makes regional Australia so great. And that's why our plan to back small businesses will work. It will cut small business taxes and make its paperwork simpler. It will see more small businesses able to write off new equipment sooner and make it easier for them to hire someone new. As the Turnbull Joyce Liberal National Government Small Business Minister, this is a plan which I know will work across Australia. It's something people raise with me from Wombat to Western Australia, and it's something designed to put small business in the driver's seat. And locally, I know it will work too. The Nationals' plan for inland rail and the critical country roads which connect them is a boom for our local economy, our region and our people. Country people know it is not just an upgrade of safety for those who use the road, although that is a top-of-mind issue. Investments in roads and building inland rail makes freight more efficient and constructs a corridor of commerce, the benefit of which almost entirely sits with small business. And thanks to our plan, inland rail is very much the character of the Riverina and Central West. Every single community in my electorate benefits from the planned inland rail route, which calls the Riverina electorate home. It's going to be the backbone, the spine of the electorate. With hubs at Wagga Wagga in the south and Parkes in the north, the benefit from bulk freight is clear. Farmers and small businesses will benefit from ongoing work on the Riverina Intermodal Freight and Logistics Hub at Bowman in North Wagga Wagga, a project I support and which has obtained considerable federal funding. It's about jobs, it's about investment, and the boon for farmers and small business will be this inland rail. The jobs and investment, the construction and ongoing work will bring not only diversifies our local economy, but it ensures regions throughout the Riverina and Central West have the bright future they expect, they demand and indeed they deserve. This is particularly true of the Riverina's electorate, the northern hub at Parkes. It is the only place on Australia's map where the Melbourne to Brisbane and Sydney to Perth rail lines intersect. Parkes is a freight hub community. Its people, its communities today are the realisation of the dream that Australia's bulk freight should move efficiently through its inland. I've met so many people whose lives and livelihoods in town are linked with moving Australia's assets. The people in Parkes understand this is a benefit which will live for generations. Their Mayor, Ken Keith, understands that, he appreciates it, and he's in there supporting it. Its can-do attitude, its infrastructure-focused local leaders, such as Councillor Keith, and investment from local businesses show it as a town passionate about its future, just like Forbes and its Mayor, Councillor Graham Miller. To listen to people in Parkes is to hear the story of what we can do, not what we used to have. It's the same with Forbes, right throughout that northern area of my new boundaries. The passion and dedication of locals drives me. It is the hundreds of Parkes and Forbes small businesses and the vibrant local chambers of commerce, which in fact the Parkes Chamber of Commerce was the first I met as small business minister just days after my appointment, which inspires me. Madam Deputy Speaker, it's the story of the North Parkes mine as well, led ably by Steph Loader and her team, and I might add I've recently learnt that Steph will be moving on from her role, and I wish her all the very best in whatever the future may hold for her. She's a great person and inspiration. She will certainly leave the mine in an enviable position, a facility which is leading the world in innovative mining techniques and employs several hundred people locally. They are generous contributors to the local community, and they're the reasons that many locals continue to call parks home. And it's the story of the region's farmers as well, productive and resilient people who feed and clothe the nation and ensure Australia's economy is one of strong export success, of growth, of high-quality product, the very best product. Very best product comes out of the Riverina and the Farrer electorate. And I say that because, not just because the member for Farrer is sitting behind me, but because of a few things I'll mention in a minute. Travel anywhere in my electorate and people will tell you about mobile coverage, Madam Deputy Speaker. With challenges of varying topography and long distances between towns and populations, few people in my electorate were untouched by the need for better mobile coverage. When we came to government in 2013, country communities across the Riverina and Central West, as well as right around Australia, were crying out for better mobile coverage. First, it's a matter of safety. For those who live in remote locations or who travel on country roads, the inability to connect to emergency services when they need it most is a risk country people simply couldn't and shouldn't have had to cop. But more than this, the reality of small business in regional Australia today is that business happens 24/7. Connecting to commodity information and being able to buy and sell product in real time, thanks to reliable mobile and internet coverage, is amongst the greatest investments this government can and is making. That's why I know our plan to keep delivering for country communities is working. It is working. While this government has invested in 2 rounds and soon to be a third of the mobile black spot program, valued at more than $220 million over 3 years, the Labor Party is still yet to understand the benefits. I'm afraid to say, Madam Deputy Speaker, money from rounds 1 and 2 of the mobile black spot program has ensured increased mobile phone coverage and connectivity is provided to communities from Badgerabong to Kurawatha, Ladysmith to Woodstock and many places in between. And there is more to come. Further funding planned, thanks to the Nationals and my constituent, in fact, the Minister for Regional Development and Young-based Nationals Senator Fiona Nash, who understands how vital communications is to country communities. This government continues to deliver for rural and regional Australia. I'm proud to be part of the team ensuring the people and communities of my electorate and other regions receive the programs and services and funding they deserve. I'm proud of the recent achievements I've been able to deliver for the Riverina, including more than $12 million in funding in community development grants, which have seen money flow to upgrade of the Forbes netball courts and the Parkes Regional Airport, as well as the Forbes Sale Yards, and a massive investment towards the upgrade of the Levy Bank in Wagga Wagga. Over $500,000 in funding to help make our town safer through the Safer Streets program will ensure police, local councils and communities have a better ability to reduce crime. And I've had the opportunity to announce funding of closed-circuit television in Cootamundra, Forbes, Temora and Wagga Wagga. By working together with governments at all levels, particularly local councils, we are upgrading and repairing bridges in all corners of the nation, and my electorate has benefited from our focus of funding ageing bridges through the Bridges Renewal Program. 5 upgrade projects, including the Riverina and Central West, have been successful. $595,000 for the replacement of Kadina Bridge in the Parkshire, $9.8 million in Wagga Wagga for the replacement of the Nonny Bridge, $2.1 million in Gundagai for the replacement of the Gabarralong Bridge, $100,000 in Carragable for the replacement of Beasley's Lane Bridge and the widening of McHenry's Creek Bridge in the Hilltops Council area, totalling $838,000. And I was so pleased to also play a role in the Carrathul Bridge upgrade. They had waited for decades for a bridge to not replace, because they can't replace the Heritage Trust Bridge that they have, but to build one right next door. And it was with some amount of sadness, but also huge jubilation that we announced that. And I say sadness because the great advocate for that, Margaret Merrylees, after whom the bridge will hopefully be named, passed away on the 21st of August 2016. That the first sod was turned by Margaret on the 2nd of November 2015, as well as the New South Wales Roads Minister Duncan Gay and myself. They'd waited for decades, and as I say, the Nationals and the Coalition federally, as well as in New South Wales, delivered. I was also so pleased to play a role during the last term of government in ensuring that buyback for water is going to be capped at 1,500 gigalitres. Now that is going to provide so much security, hope and confidence in the areas of Colliambly, Griffith and Hillston and Narrandera. They were part of the Riverina electorate boundaries from Federation from 1901, but they now sit proudly with the member for Farrer, and I know that she will do a good job continuing to represent those areas. They are tremendous people. I'm sorry in one sense to lose them, but I know they're in good hands with the member for Farrer. The big ticket items and the large dollar sums, they do attract a lot of attention and deliver great outcomes for our communities, and rightly so. However, it's often the smaller, more localised projects and amounts of money we spend as a federal government that can often mean the most. The highly successful Stronger Communities program, now replaced by the Building Better Regions Fund with a specific focus on regional Australia, has enabled key local projects to be funded to benefit community groups and organisations with their everyday needs. Great examples include $5,000 for a new antenna and transmitter for the community radio station in West Wyalong in the Bland Shire, $6,000 for air conditioning of the Beckham Hall in the Coolum Shire, and just a bit over $8,000 for a community barbecue at Area Park in the Temora Shire. These are a few examples of many smaller amounts of funding that deliver a great benefit to my country communities. With a positive plan that delivers for country people in their communities, I stand in this place proud always that we remain focused on regional people, the very people who elect us. The people of regional Australia have shown yet again that they want the Nationals to be their champion in the federal parliament, and as I stand here today, the Nationals are the only party which can lay claim to holding every seat in the House of Representatives and the Senate, as welcoming another number in the member for Murray at the last election. We did very well. For a political party in our modern climate, that result is truly extraordinary. For decades, in fact for almost 100 years since our party was formed, they've been writing us off. The pundits have been predicting the demise of the National Party. Newspaper columns and popular opinion, every day say that the Nationals, our best days are behind us. Well, how wrong they are, Madam Deputy Speaker, and how wrong they were at the last election. With many of my colleagues across the country in very tight contests, none of us underestimated the scale of the challenge on the 2nd of July, and let me tell you, no Nationals member will ever take their electorates for granted. None of us did that because we know that our electorates deserve the best. None of us took for granted that we would get the credit for the infrastructure that we've built and the investment that we've made in our communities. We don't look for glorification, we just want to see things get done. And under a coalition government, that's what happens. We all knew, and we continue to know now, that regional people are unique. They are special, and they deserve a dedicated voice which understands their needs, their wants and their aspirations. And central to this fact is that they want someone who listens. And National Party members and Liberal Party members too, they listen. We do listen to our electorates. We're in focus, we're in tune. And when the new boundaries of the Riverina electorate were gazetted in February last year, my local Nationals team and I knew that we had a big challenge before us. In my electorate, many communities with which I had not been familiar were welcomed into our electorate's map. And in the past, in Parkes and Forbes, the Nationals John Cobb in Calare and Andrew G, then in the state seat, were local members for many years, and the people of Parkes and Forbes have had good local members in those too, and people there knew that the Nationals cared. And I want local people in those towns to know that I care for them too. The same was true of the other communities in the then shires of Cootamundra, Cowra, Harden, Lockhart, Wedden, which takes in Grenfell, and Young, previously represented by the member for Hume and by the member for Farrer. They'd had coalition members in the past, but they hadn't had a national, in some cases for more than 20 years. In each of these towns, the hearts of the people beat a familiar tune. The country people, proud of their communities and passionate about our future. And that's the philosophy of country people, having a go. Look, I'd like to personally thank, in the time remaining, the many members of my campaign team who were spread across the Riverina and Central West. Bruce Adams, Erin Adams, Ian Armstrong and his wife Jennifer, Laura Bruce, Kathy Cleary, David and Ruth Fagan, Wes Fang, Pam Halliburton, Margaret Hill, Dominic Hopkinson, Barney Himes, John Minogue, Dorothy Nash, Mark Olson, Gretchen Sleeman, Richard Sleeman, Leslie Venell, Robert Venell and Annabelle Williams. There were many, many more, and they all came together to make sure that the Nationals had a good result. I also pay tribute to and thank my three beautiful children, Georgina, who came with me on many, many road trips. I think she enjoyed it a bit too much. Alexander and Nicholas, and my wonderful and unwavering wife, Catherine. Her ability to make me realise the importance of taking time out to honour and celebrate the special moments and milestones of our collective lives is important. She keeps me humble. It serves as a reality check for me and ensures that I can continue to be the best father and husband that I can be. This is a tough role. Madam Deputy Speaker, and it's one that we all put ourselves up for, whether we're Labor, Liberal, National Party, whatever. And so we all need the love and support of our family and friends. It's important to remember that no one is alone. Politics is not about power, it's about people, and I rededicate myself to the service of the communities and the people I represent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And the question is that the address be agreed to. I give the call to the member for Gorton.
Thank